Well, I saw the thing coming out of the sky. It had a one long horn and one big eye. I commenced to shaking and I said, ooh, it looks like a purple people eater to me. It was a one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater. One-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater. One-eyed, one-horn flying purple people.
Hello, you found footage fanatics out there. It's your host with the most, Benjamin Dutil, back with you for another exciting episode of the Horror Heathen YouTube channel and the South Jersey Horror Podcast. Today, I have a wonderful actress with me, Jolene Andersen. Hi, who
Hi.
plays Bennet in the segment Stork in the VHS Beyond movie, which I believe this franchise has skyrocketed since the beginning. So, um, seventh movie in the installment, and it's only getting better. So, without further ado, I'm going to shut my trap now and let my guests come in. Please give a warm welcome to Jolene Andersen. How are you doing?
Hi, everybody. I am fantastic. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm fabulous. Thank you and welcome to the shows. I appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Um, Absolutely, my pleasure. So before we dig into the movie and about your character as Bennett, I'd love to know more about you personally. So, could you please tell us, the audience, a little bit about yourself and how you got into acting?
I'm gonna try to make a long story short. I'm originally from South Africa. I'm from Namibia. My family's from South Africa. I come from a long line of geologists. So my father worked for a mining company that moved to the United States, and so then I lived on the East Coast, New Jersey and Connecticut, and all of that. And when I was really young, I had a lot of freedom when I was really young. So when I was like 8 years, 8 years old, probably 8, 9, I started taking the trains all over New Jersey to go see like theater productions and stuff like that. I didn't know that that was something that I actually wanted to pursue. I think I was just fascinated by the concepts and everything else. And then when our family, the company moved to Denver, and so our family moved to Colorado. And I started just doing theater and getting involved. And it's a funny story because what happened was we moved from the East Coast to Colorado, which is a little bit like it felt a little backward. It felt very hick once I'd come from the East Coast. And my brothers and sisters had come from South Africa and their fashion and their music, and they were teenagers already because there's a whole bunch of family dynamics. So they brought all this punk rock and all this like really interesting death rock and new wave and stuff. So I moved to Colorado with like my little hippie dress with my Pippi Longstocking socks that were black striped and my necklace made out of broken glass. And everyone hated me. Everybody in Colorado hated me. So the guidance counselor thought that to sort of make people like me, he'd make me the lead in the school play. And the school play was always like teaching you a lesson, right? This one was about pumping up and like kids dying from I want to say I'm about to say STDs, but like roids and stuff. So they made me the girlfriend of the most popular guy, like in the play, like the most popular football player has the most popular, beautiful girlfriend, which just made people hate me more. Like he thought this would endear people to me, right? That he like put me in this position to help me out. It did not. It did the absolute opposite. But I married the theater from that moment on, and I found my people. And the minute I started high school, we were just embedded in the whole thing. So that kind of started my career. And I've just sort of never stopped. I did a lot of professional theater in Denver. I ended up coming out to California and then figuring out how to get the SAG card and the agents and the blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah. And so the rest is kind of history. I think it was always just in there somewhere. Yeah, I come from a long line of scientists, and I thought I was going to follow that track. But I woke up on my 21st birthday, like on someone's couch, and all of my friends were creatives. They were making money designing decor for like the clubs and blah, blah, blah. And they were fashion designers and they're musicians. And I just kind of had this epiphany that I was 21 and I had my whole life ahead of me. The world was my oyster. And what direction was I going to go? Was I going to continue in the science route, which has sort of become more of a hobby? Or was I going to follow the route that like on my deathbed, I'd be in the theater, like painting sets, right? So I chose that path and here we are 25 years later. That's as short as I could make
Part
that story.
and then part of an awesome franchise, which is great. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
so you say you live in New Jersey. Where? Please don't tell me Hoboken, New Jersey. Otherwise, I'm going to cut this interview like right now.
No, Fanwood, Fanwood, Scotch Plains. Family, New Jersey, Hoboken. That's hilarious. Do you live in Hoboken?
No, 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 no.
Oh,
I live in Palmyra, so which
okay.
is I can walk to Philadelphia if I wanted to in 5 minutes. I
Yeah,
mean, that's how close I am. So, um,
yeah. I spent a lot of birthdays at at the Sesame Park, the water park in Pennsylvania. Is that still alive?
unfortunately, yes, it's still there. So,
What's it called?
um, I don't know. I've never been to Sesame
It was
Place.
like
I've
Sesame
always,
Place or something like that, right? It's like, yeah, it was a
I've
death
only been
trap,
to,
the death trap for children.
I've only been to Six Flags, so I don't know anything else.
Oh,
Um,
you're an elitist. I
yeah.
get it. I see. I feel you. Okay.
And then again, I envy you because I kind of like followed the whole family tradition by staying in like, joining the military. Great grandfather military, grandfather military, dad was military. I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'll continue, whatever. And yeah,
Okay.
I did 15 years in the military, and I was like, you know, I'm done. I got tired of it.
Well,
So
I thank your family for your service.
yeah, appreciate that. My body just couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, I'm old. I got two herniated discs, arthritis, nerve damage, PTSD. My body's like, I'm done. Just time to get out.
Like, what I need is a podcast.
Yes,
Well,
exactly. Which is perfect.
now look, you look so happy and healthy. Look
I
at you.
love it. I get to talk to actors for free, which is great. So
Yeah, it's pretty great. Well, I'm grateful for you too. I love doing these.
I love talking to people like you, or like people like actors, to get like a deeper sense of, you know, like more on a personal level, like about the role in the movie. So, I mean,
Mm.
it's not like they don't do like, you know, special features and DVDs anymore where they have the actors, you know, sit down in front of the camera and say what they did in the movie. And I wish they would do that, you know.
No, we have you.
So yeah, connecting with people is what I'm doing. So no, sorry, I'm blabbing. I'm sorry. Just tell me to shut up. I'll shut up. So
No, it's your show, boo. It's your show.
so so this particular segment, Story, it's like a first person POV shooter zombie game, which I absolutely love.
Is
And it's
that why it's your
goofily
favorite? Because it has that Resident Evil video game aspect to it?
kind of, but I'm more into the special effects and the makeup kind of thing. So um but the backstory behind this segment is a group of officers are searching for missing babies, and including one of the cops' own. So, and they end up in an old house, which seems to have been evicted for like a long time, and then invaded by zombies, which is great. I love it. I mean,
Why
it's like
not?
squatters on crack. I don't know, but
Yeah.
but one is really a chainsaw, so these zombies have like a sense of direction, what's going on, because you normally don't see zombies with chainsaws
Yeah.
until you got that what the fuck ending, and it's like
They're like
most direct
organized.
segment. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's like a hive mind or something. I had no idea. But you get the WTF moment at the end, and that's like the most direct segment and the most enjoyable segment throughout the entire movie. So it's a gem. I love it. It's an absolute gem.
Were you had when did you did you have any spoilers before you saw it? So when did you see the monster for the first time when you watched the movie, or had you already seen the monster like in PR packets and stuff?
No, that was the very first time like raw
So
material
how
for
did
me.
you
So
feel when you did you see that coming, that he was going to be this giant weird stork alien monster?
no, I did not know that. I
No.
thought I was like spending some kind of machine or something. But you know, it's like zombies guarding a machine, you know, milking babies. I don't know. Some weird crap like that. I don't know. I have a weird imagination. People think I'm crazy, but
No. Should be writing
so
scripts.
so the seventh installment in the movie. And how did you get involved with the franchise and the role as Bennett?
Okay. Well, just like the logistics of being an actor, when people are casting a movie, they put down a breakdown that you and your agents and people have access to. And so you pitch yourself to the role. So I saw the role of Bennett. I had no idea what it was. I didn't know. This is my entire career, just accidentally stumbling upon things I've never heard of before. I just kept seeing all these castings for VHS, and there were different parts. And I'm like, I wonder what that is. I don't care what it is. You know, you're just like, that's just the name. I thought it was like a code name. Everyone puts code names out when they put out castings. And so I just saw the role of Bennett, and it said that Bennett was a man, but that they were considering a woman for the role, which is kind of how I built my entire career, being like the female character that was originally made for a man. So I just loved the breakdown, and I liked the story, and they kind of give you a quick synopsis, and I was like, I should play Bennett. That sounds great. The stoicism, all the whole thing. And so I pitched myself for it. I submitted for it. And Jordan, the director, and it's just like anything else. I'm a pretty good shoe-in for that kind of stuff, so I thought I had a pretty good chance. And then they sent me an audition, and I sent the audition back, and then it just turns out that Jordan, the director, had seen me. I don't know if you know about the Alien anthology movie I did. Alien Specimen. It's on, I think so. It's a really fun. When the 40-year anniversary came out, Paramount put together a bunch of short films that were supposed to be sort of be prequels to the Alien movies. So he had seen me in that, and had always wanted to work with me since he saw it. And I did that like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So when my audition came in, he just said, I'd been wanting to work with you for years, so I'm so glad you read for us. And then he gave me the role of Bennet.
Nice. And
That's it.
it worked out. It's
That's
perfect.
how it works. Yeah. And
So,
then I was like, what's VHS? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh, it's a thing. And then I started watching the movies and I was like, this is so fun. And then even when I was on set and I wasn't supposed to say anything, people would be like, well, what are you working on? I'm like, I don't know, some VHS, whatever. And they'd be like, people start fanboying out on me. My roommate's fanboying out on me. Everyone's freaking out. And I was like, what is it? So, yeah, and this is it. Here it is. Yeah.
so yeah, I love the whole found footage aspect of movies because
Mm,
when the very first found footage movie I watched was the original VHS.
mm,
So I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I can see where this is going.
mm.
But my expectations were very low. I did not see it coming out anymore after that at all
Huh.
until more started building up like VHS, 94, 99, 85, then all the other then this one VH Beyond. I was like, I saw the preview for this, was like, holy shit, I've got to watch this because this looks phenomenal. Because not only is it horror, it's sci-fi, which I
Yeah.
have just a great combination
Yeah.
of horror and sci-fi. And I can't, I have no words to express how this movie blew my mind away. So
I'm so happy because I have to say, when you get yourself into a franchise and the next one's coming out and people are excited, you just have no idea how it's going to be received. And it's always so like, woo, everybody loves it. Like, thank God.
so I
Thank
bet the
God.
director was very happy about it too. So um
Yeah, now you've all these celebrity directors like itching to get their hands on a segment. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So I think Justin Long's in it too, isn't he? Justin Long? I
Yeah.
think
What
he's a
was
part of
your
the
second
cast.
favorite segment?
The alien one where the woman gets she
Yeah.
finds her way to the spaceship and she just floats away in the spaceship and then she
Yeah.
turns into an alien herself. I was like,
Yeah.
that's cool. But the whole what was the third one, the skydive one?
No, my
So
other favorite one, and people complain because they say it's not sci-fi, but the dog one, uh what's that one called?
the dog
Um,
sitter or something like that.
yeah, that was my other favorite. I like that one the most, but that's
That one,
controversial. A lot of people don't
yeah.
like that segment. It is my other favorite besides ours.
Well, that's when Justin Long's in it. Justin Long is
Yeah,
captured, and yeah.
yeah,
And I was actually surprised to see him in the movie too, which is really weird because usually he
yeah,
doesn't do like found footage movies. So,
yeah.
how did you prepare for this role? I mean, was it like special training you had to go through,
Um,
or just
Look,
do
one of the
the
other actors, the gentleman that plays the older gruff guy, I forget, we were supposed to go to his house and like shoot guns and stuff, but most of us, I mean, I've done a lot of roles like this. Like, I'm always like the one female on a SWAT team, or I'm someone on a blah blah blah. It's really in my wheelhouse. So we had rehearsals, of course. We got together and talked about who. I just think the casting process is so important, and they just perfectly cast each role. Like, it's not that I had to push too far, and I've had a lot of experience with guns and weapons and that kind of stuff, so that wasn't really an issue. And there's always someone there to make sure you're holding your gun right, and if I was like, how do I do this, there's someone with a lot of experience.
the
But emotionally, kind of getting into the character, it wasn't, you've got a lot of direction there from the writing, and then I had a lot of direction there from the director on exactly who these people were, and they're written very specifically. Bennet was supposed to be the more stoic, serious, intelligent, you can tell which was interesting because I was like, Jordan, is that why Bennet became the female character? Because she's the most level-headed, and and he's like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. I'm like, interesting. Because all of the men have these kind of crazy ego, punchy, personalities, but Bennet's very solid, and is like no nonsense, very analytical. which I thought was funny. I was like, so he's the female role. She kind of is a little bit of the glue that keeps everyone together. But so all of those descriptions are already there. Like, who's Bennett? And then you just take all that on, and there's a lot of conversations about, on set and during rehearsal. And so, yeah, it wasn't too difficult to step into Bennett's shoes. I've done it before, and um, I think there's a little fighter in me too. Uh, I liked that he was so even keeled. So I still referred to him as him because I wanted to play that like masculine. When people give me those roles, I still hold on to like the masculine energy of that. Because there's a reason for that, right? I am a woman. You can't help but offer that to the role. So that's already there. I don't need to play it in any other way. So yeah, when I speak about Bennett, I still call him he. It's funny. So yeah, no, it's just we all work together and through our rehearsals and stuff, just ironed out all of our parts and our emotions, and then you just discover a lot of really great things when you're shooting, and that's the joy of life for me, quite frankly. So
I love it. That's great. so, so
good
because okay,
writing.
so
A good writer is worth $1 billion. That's what it is.
so you had the training, how to handle weapons properly, you rehearsed. So there's none of the directors say, okay, we're just gonna fucking wing it. None of that's like just we're just gonna go with it. It's just all rehearsals.
I mean, we had one long day of rehearsal where we just kind of went through the script and talked about stuff. And then, of course, have you been on a movie set, a film set? Have you worked in the industry at all?
No.
So there's always like when you're setting up the lights and everything, you always come in for rehearsal for the scene because you have to be prepared for like how you're going to set up the lights, how you're going to get the shot, what everything looks like, and get everybody in thing. So you always before every scene get back in there and rehearse it a bit and play with it and whatever. So there's never just like everyone come to you just be wasting a lot of time and money if you're like wing it. I've been on those sets and they suck and nobody wants to work on them, and those projects very rarely get finished. So there's always there's a way of doing things. So when it's time at the beginning of the day, they're like, we're going to be doing scene 18. Can I have the actors in for rehearsal? And we take over the space and we play with it and do something. And then the DP's there to kind of check out how he wants to do angles, and they know where to put the lighting, and we hash it all out, the action. And then we step away while they set it all out up. And, then we come back in and we do the scene as many times as it takes to sort of get it right, or as much time as we have to capture different things. And there is often like let's do what we say is we've got a safety, right? So once you've gotten what you're looking for, then it's like, you guys, we have a safety, just do whatever you want with this one. And that's always a gem because then everyone can just loosen up and like, let's just do the scene all crazy and whatever we want. And because we've already got what we need, but there's a lot of magic in that too. But you have to have a structured set. You have to have a structured situation, or your movie's not going to get done. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of time. There's a lot of minutia. It takes a long time. It took us an entire week to shoot that one segment, 5 long 12-hour days plus rehearsals to shoot that tiny 25-30 minute segment. So yeah, a lot of moving parts. So rehearsal and freedom, if you're lucky, you get both.
How much caffeine did you have today? Just wondering.
No, I'm just like this. It's only my second cup of coffee.
I'm not trying to be funny with it, but just very excited and very animated. I love it. So it's great. Um,
I love my job. Like, ask me more. I could talk about this all day.
so were there any challenges while filming this segment? Like, say it's clerk quarters, small rooms, it's like okay, it's like imagine yourself in an RPG game or a first person shooter game. To me, there has to be some challenges. Lay them out for me.
The physical space is very difficult. Yeah, it's freezing. That old house it feels like it's going to fall down. One day it was raining, the rain just comes through the house. There's a lot of people and a lot of action that has to happen. I mean, it's not without its challenges, like the location itself, trying to get all those people and all that action into a very small space. The monster has to work right. Everything has to work right. That poor guy's just like suffocating in that thing, and we're shooting things at him. That attic up there is disgusting. You're breathing in all this crap. You're up there for 12 hours. No one can wait to get out. Like, can we just get out of here? So, there's always the atmosphere that is usually the challenge. The only time you don't have to deal with that as much is if you're actually on a sound stage. that's always a gift. But then it's never as charming as an actual location. That house was really groovy. That was a fun house to work in. But the weather was crazy. It would be like 100 degrees, and then it would be like really cold, and then the rain came, and then whatever, and it's dusty, and you're pumping smoke, and you've got all these weapons, and we kept losing electricity. I mean, yeah, there's so many things.
It's like Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong, right? It's
Uh-huh.
just
Yeah, yeah. Somehow we
so.
get through it. Somehow we get through it.
So after the reading the scripts about your role and knowing what you were getting into, can you tell us what you were feeling when the director yelled action?
Oh, I was so excited. I was so excited. I was excited at the rehearsal. Um, Once I realized what I was getting into, I was like, "Ooh, this is exciting." And then I went to rehearsal, and when you're with the directors, and it's kind of like there were two of them directing, these two like best friends, that this is like was like their dream job. Um, Once, I want to remember the artist's name. I think it was like a Polish artist where they got the inspiration. I don't know if you know about that. This guy that does
I've
these
read about
beautiful
it.
visual
Yeah.
paintings, really creepy and strange. As soon as he sent me those, I was like, "Oh, I'm so excited to do this." Like, because then you know that you're in, I do a lot of dumb shit. When you know that you're part of something really creative and exciting, and then when that's the origin, like they took these beautiful paintings, I was like, "Ooh, we're gonna work from that." And then we all get together for the rehearsal, and he is so excited to have us. And each of us are so incredibly different from the other. And all those creative juices, just I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I hadn't worked on a project like that for a while. So that is when I started getting like, oh my God, I was just elated. I was like walking on cloud nine. This is the perfect combination of everything I've worked so hard for, right? You're just like the enthusiasm. He's in love with the project. We're in love with the project. We can't wait to shoot. Um, Everyone was so excited to get there on day one. And you know what's funny is we're just so excited for Jordan. I mean, I get like that. I just get so excited for my director. He's dreamed about this for God knows how long, right? And here we are bringing this to fruition, like his vision. And that just always excites me. It gets really great. So we were all so excited to be there. It was so much fun. Yeah, it was magic. It's like a kismet sort of thing when it's like a little energy field. It's when everyone's like, let's go. And then when the monsters started coming, like we got to set, and then we were like, monsters. Like it was so fun to finally see all the special effects dolls and the monsters they created. I mean, it was a magical week, as you can imagine.
No, I can relate because I used to work at a haunt in Pennsylvania, and
Yeah.
getting we had to be at least a couple hours early to prep ourselves. So eating our dinner and talking to all the fellow employees. I get it. You get yourself worked up for the night because you're gonna scare the hell out of some people. So
Yeah.
I know exactly how it
Yeah.
feels. Um, so I want to know more about the story because that dude creeped me out. I mean,
Isn't it great? How weird. You know what's funny is every time you take go on a project and like the subject matter is a little bit like, I worked on a lot of films where I was like, this story's a bit broad. Like it's a bit weird. It's a bit, I was like, and it can go either way. I was like, either it's going to be complete shit or it's going to be brilliant. And I was like, a stork monster sucking baby. Okay. But then like it was pretty great. Like the first time we saw the stork, we were all like, oh my God, like it was fucking creepy. Like it was brilliant. I was like, no one's gonna see this coming. We every time we'd walk into the room, we were all like, oh Jesus. You know what I mean? It was just, yeah, it was the stork was amazing, and they just did an amazing job with it. And then the actor, I mean, he's like 7 feet tall or something. And he was just in there. And you know what's crazy is they have someone in the roof almost working him like a marionette because it's so big, right? So he's standing there in the thing, but the head's so big, they're holding it up with strings up and through the ceiling of that attic and trying to hold up the rest of his body and move it around like a puppet. This massive, I mean, he must have been 15 feet tall. It's really cool, slimy, weird. Yeah, it's great.
it's like Big Bird on crack, I guess.
Yeah, we're all jealous. Like the one guy who got his brain eaten by the stork. We're like, I want to get my brain eaten by the stork. It's iconic.
So you get this big giant man in a suit being played like a marionette. All this time, I thought it was like a machine. Honestly, like people with that remote control thing or something. I mean,
Mm-mm.
now I feel sorry for the poor bastard wearing the suit. It's
No,
just,
he's fine. He's has a great career. He does a lot of creature stuff like that. So he plays a lot of monsters. He's a really large guy, has a lot of a lot of experience doing that. And so no, there was a man in there. There was a man in there moving around and doing all that stuff. It's a team effort. It's always a team effort. There are no lone wolves in the filmmaking industry. It's a team effort. Um,
so I've already expressed how I feel about the movie and how it mashed up horror and sci-fi. So what's your opinion on how they incorporated sci-fi into horror with this franchise, with this particular segment?
I mean, what a brilliant idea. I always get really excited when people think out of the box, and you're like, whoever suggested this, it was brilliant because look how you were able to bring it together, right? It's just fear of the unknown, which is what monsters are and everything else, you know? So just kind of having your monster come from outer space was just a beautiful mix. Like, why hasn't anyone so I love that aspect because it just gave it a little bit more dimension, not to use a pun, but it just gave it a lot more to work with and a lot more fear. So if you take the fear you already have of monsters and invisible things, and then you add in the, invaders or space or that kind of unknown, it just kind of compounds that the terror. So I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was a great idea. Great idea.
Because you said this is based off a Polish painting, right? So
Yeah.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it, where this idea came from. Like, besides the painter, what was the painter thinking while painting the painting? I mean,
Did you see them?
no, I did not.
Have you seen?
And
Oh, well, no, I'm gonna put it in the notes for you to like dig out just for your own edification. They're brilliant and dark. And in fact, the director, one of the directors, the co-director on Instagram would put our this guy does like performance art sort of in photos. And so there are these rickety old straight, almost every scene that we shot was like a replica of this man's vision. The whole warden team, everything. So he kind of did them side by side. So they were almost they wanted to do what he had done and kind of bring it to life, because what he does is these stills. And it's all there. If you look at these stills, you'll see exactly where it came from. Um, I'm just gonna dig around here for Jordan's. Uh, I'll send it to
huh,
you because we're friends on Facebook now. I'm gonna send those to you so you can look at them. I think you'll find
okay.
them really interesting. I wish I knew who the name was. So, oh yeah. So here's the photo. I mean, I don't know. So here's the photo. You can see that, right? The photo of us standing in front of the haunted house. This is the dude's work of them standing. It's all black
Okay.
and white of them standing in front
Okay.
of the house. So there's a lot of that. Um, Let me see what his name was. Oleg Dovenko at Chuvak. Oh, he's got an Instagram page. Is there a place where I can write notes to you? Chat?
Never used that before.
I'm gonna put it in the
Chat.
chat because you got to check
So
this out. This is great. And I
so
think like if you like this kind of, this genre, I could see you becoming a fan of this artist. Can I sort of
so while we're doing this,
like
besides the Stork and the everything you just told me, which I find fantastic. Are there
uh-huh.
any more behind the scenes secrets that you can tell us about the movie, about that segment at all?
I don't know what a secret would be. It's almost like sometimes I don't remember like what it's like to be just a person watching stuff. Okay, I'm sending you that guy. Secrets. I mean, of course, the monsters are all secrets. I mean, and they're how they make them work and how they do those kind of things. But no, nothing I feel like people wouldn't know about. Um, yeah, no, I mean, it's all movie magic. It's all secrets. I think,
No, like any stuff behind the scenes secrets, like how was the makeup done? How was the Stork suit
Okay,
made?
well, I'll tell
Or
you what's really hard to do is have that first person sort of when you're shooting a bunch of people in a room and we were literally shooting from some of those cameras on our chests to get that POV. That was incredibly difficult to do, and I'll have to say there was no cheating on that. We didn't tape stuff to make it look like first person, whatever. Like those cameras were on our bodies, and we would sort of switch them around to different characters. That was sort of like written into the script. That was a little bit crazy and fun. Um, yeah, that was really difficult. The makeup for us was like super easy and no big deal. It really was the stars of the whole circus and the fun that we were having were always the monsters. Like every time people were like wrapped for the day and they just stick around waiting to see the monster. We're like, the chainsaw guy is playing today. So we're like, well, I'm coming on chainsaw guy day so that I can like see him and whatever, so it was really about, and they all had to be really hush hush, you couldn't like send pictures to your friends of like what was happening, unfortunately. So yeah, that was probably the most fascinating and cool and difficult, and they had their work cut out for them. I feel like we were pretty just run of the mill. We're almost like the straight guys, right? And then the story happened around us. Like in comedy, right? You always have like the straight person who everyone's kind of playing off, and then everything else is extraordinary. But there's a very solid straight through line of something that's very believable, right? So yeah, the exciting part was the extraordinariness and the people that were creating that. And then just wondering what was going to look like at the end of the day, like once they have all their special effects and like, you leave and it's a wrap and you're like, hope that turns out well, you know.
So, well, that's great. I'm glad. I'm glad the movie turned out really well for you guys. And like I said,
Yeah,
it's my favorite segment.
I'm,
And the
I love that.
the alien one was my second favorite. So, um, yeah, that's according to your IMDb page, you have two other horror movies coming out that are in production.
Yeah, yeah.
House of Karma, and Return to Fear. Are you
I'm
allowed to talk
excited
about
about
the?
Return to Fear. That should be a good one. Yeah.
Are you allowed to talk about any of those movies at all? Or are they still
Yeah,
hush
I think
hush?
I can. I think I can. Look, the weird thing about House of Karma we shot not last year, like before last, like that was shot a year and a half ago. And here's things that people don't understand is that a lot of films don't end up kind of coming out because they're having legal issues with their like producers and stuff where someone wants more control and then they can't have it and who's going to distribute it and all that kind of stuff. So that one's just sitting there. That is a fun movie. That's a very tongue-in-cheek, really fun horror. And I'm so disappointed that it wasn't able to come out last Halloween. And I'm really bummed it didn't come out this Halloween. Um, and I really hope it sees the light of day because it's such a fun movie. Um, Returns of Fear, I'm not sure how much longer it's going to take for them to finish that, but that's pretty gore. That is full gore. Like that is going to be fun. And I'm like the main evil demonic spirit of that movie. So that was really fun. So I'm like, curious to see how that turns out, but that is a full on like blood fest. In fact, when I ended up getting on that movie, it was because their distributors were like, yeah, not enough deaths, not enough murders, not enough blood. So we spent a whole week just chopping people's heads off and slicing people open and killing people. And there was just a lot of blood and special effects. Like that's going to be a good one. I'm excited about it.
I'm appealed. I'm intrigued.
You're in.
So, well, that's all the questions I have for you. I really
Okay.
appreciate it. You taking the time out, sitting
Sure.
down with me and unpacking the movie for me and telling the
Sure.
whole world how great this movie is.
It
So
is. Yeah.
I'm encouraging everyone out there to go watch this movie right now. Get off your asses, log into whatever
Or
platform is
sit on
playing
your
on.
ass and watch it.
Well, that too.
You don't even have
Tune
to
in.
do anything. You just have to press play.
Unless you lay in bed, you gotta get moved to your couch. Whatever.
Yeah.
But
Watch on your phone. I wouldn't. I wouldn't watch on your phone just because it's too visually stimulating, all of it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
but I'm partial to the first segment, but I can't guarantee that everyone's gonna like it. So
The fur babies
I'm sorry.
or stork. Sorry, sorry, I skipped you. You're partial to the stork segment. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm
But for
very
the
fond. I
record,
loved
I'm
it.
moving in saying fur babies was my second favorite outside of ours.
Check it out right now. It's VOD. Just check it out, people. It's phenomenal. It's right now. It's my opinion. It's my second favorite one in the entire franchise. So VHS
Wow.
85 was my very first one. I love the 80s. I mean, it just I don't know if
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
seen
And I love that we're
VHS
keeping it
85.
there. Keeping it in the
So
80s. Yeah. And you can see it on Shutter. It's streaming on
yes,
Shutter.
I'm sorry.
So if yeah, yeah.
Well, that's all the time we
All
have.
right.
Thank you so much. You've been fantastic,
Cool. Thank you.
and I wish you nothing but success in your career and
Thank
prosperous
you.
future. And the other two movies, I can't wait to see if and when they come out. House of Karma, Return to Fear. So
Return to Fear, I think, will come out. They've got no problems with that. They even have distributors and everything already. I think they're just finishing it up, and there's just a post-production is a big long process. It's harder than sometimes the shooting of it itself. So that should come out. Yeah. So
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the beautiful, the talented Jolene Andersen, who plays Bennet in VHS Beyond. Check it out. Don't hesitate. Thank you so much. You're awesome, and I will
thank you.
continue to see you on the big screen.
Yes. Good to meet you.
All right.